Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name's Kristen Arledge. I'm a local real estate agent here in Southern California with True Line Realty. You have been through slews and slews of videos looking for tips and tricks, maybe even just looking for the process, what it looks like to pass your real estate salesperson exam. By the end of this video, I will have taken you on a little bit of a journey with me. I'm going to take you into the days leading up to me taking my broker's exam. And hey, let's find out whether I pass or if I have to go back in for a second try.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
So I decided to take you guys on a little bit of a journey through my broker's exam. And I know that some of you might be looking for information on how to pass your real estate license salesperson exam. Or maybe you're coming back and you want to see, what it's like to pass the broker's exam or what the broker's exam is like. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight into the process, my personal experience. I passed my salesperson exam, and this is for the state of California. I passed my salesperson exam back in 2012. I did pass on the first try, and I used real estate trainers, and I used that for my salesperson courses as well as for studying for the exam. Now, the salesperson exam and the broker's exam, there really isn't much of a difference in terms of studying. Some of the information might be a little bit different, but the study process is going to be about the same. The length of the test for the broker's exam is a little bit longer, and there's more questions, maybe about 100 more questions, can't remember. But it's a little longer. And then the salesperson exam, what you need to pass is a 70%, and for the broker's exam is you need a 75%. Now, those are the big differences there. In terms of going into the exam itself that day, almost exactly the same. I honestly, I don't think there were any differences. And I think that there may be a mix of students getting their salesperson license, taking the exam for that, and then a mix of people getting their broker's license, taking the exam for that. So walking into the room is pretty much going to be the same for whether you're taking the salesperson exam or whether you're taking the broker's exam. In terms of studying, I did it a little bit differently, but I used the same company. So I did go with real estate trainers again for my broker's exam. And the big thing that I really loved and why I went back to real estate trainers is they have a CompuTrainer, which is kind of like it's a computerized testing and studying. And so it'll spit out random questions to you, and it gives you the same amount of time as whether you're taking the broker's exam. It's just like it's doing a mock exam over and over and over again, and always having different questions. And that's what I liked about it. So I could probably get a 70 on sitting down taking the CompuTrainer test in one session, and then next session I might get a 77. So it's constantly giving you new questions. So doing those tests over and over and over and over again really helped me pass the salesperson exam. The difference that happened between me taking the salesperson exam and me taking the broker's exam is for the salesperson exam, I did the crash course, and that was also offered through real estate trainers. And for my for my broker's exam, I did not take the crash course. Now, I know a lot of real estate agents that say that the crash course was it. That is the reason why they passed. And actually, some of them who didn't pass the first time went back to take the crash course and then passed it the second time. I didn't take the crash course the second time for my broker's exam because I didn't feel that it helped me personally. It wasn't the way that I study. I study in a different way, and you'll see a little bit of my obsessive compulsive study skills, and you'll see the reason why I decided just to go my own route, because that's the way I study, and that's how I feel more comfortable in learning the material. So I'm going to take you on my journey. I'm also going to, because I am a working real estate agent as well, the day before I actually had to do some work. So I'm going to take you on a showing as well. So bonus, stick with me and see if I passed my broker's exam on the first try, or if I had to go back and study and go again for a second try. I labeled all of the sections and compiled them into finance, and finance is very large, so I had to do 2 packets for finance. The next one was appraisal. Appraisal is a little thick as well. The next one is contracts. Contracts is very important. Again, a good size for each of these topics. And then we have California real estate law. And then we have encumbrances. Probably my worst subject of the whole book. And then finally, we have legal aspects. Again, I took these from the Real Estate Trainer's Notebook right here. And I just took all the pertinent information, all the study skill type information that I needed. When I was testing myself, I would go through and circle the problem areas, the problem questions that I had, so that I can easily go back to them and restudy them, and then retest myself again until I got them right. And I tested myself over and over and over again, and currently these are what my scores are for each subject. So based on these test scores that I have right now from real estate trainers, it looks as though that I should pass. So my goal is to consistently score above an 85%. The real estate broker's exam for the license, you do need a 75% or more to pass, and for the real estate salesperson license, you need a 70%. So it did take me a while to get from those 50s to 60s test scores up to above the 80 and 85 range. I was even hitting 90s and above on some of them. I am just getting on the freeway now. I am actually headed to La Palma to take my real estate broker's exam. The exam's not until tomorrow, but I've decided, since I have 3 children and I'd rather just focus on the test and what I need to do in my final hours of studying to prepare for tomorrow, I've decided to stay in a hotel just so I could have my complete undivided attention to everything real estate broker exam specific. So on my way to La Palma, I'm actually going to make one stop. I've got to show a house to a client that I've had for a couple of months, so I figured I'll do that on my way since I won't be around tomorrow. I'll be taking the test and a little stressed out. So yeah, so once I check into the hotel, I will check back in with you guys later, and you guys can be there from the beginning of my journey as a real estate broker. So see you at the hotel. So I'm here showing the house before I head up to my test. Turning on any lights in the property, if there's any lights. Electricity on. We do have electricity, that's wonderful, but we don't need a ceiling fan on. downtown LA, showing a fixer property to my clients that will be here in about 15 minutes. I always like to arrive a little early to turn lights on, take a look at anything that would be a material defect that I can point out to them, open up any other back houses. We do have a lot of ADUs in LA, so make sure that I can open up everything. This is actually a true back house, not an ADU. On for them. It doesn't work. There we go, fan. Okay, light doesn't work. All right. Once my clients get here, I'm going to show them the house, the main house, and the back house. And then I'm going to get back onto the road and get on over to La Palma to prepare for my test. So I'm back on the road again. I just finished up my showing with my clients. It was a very long showing, and particularly when you've got a showing that ends up being that long, it's because they like the property. So we're going to be writing an offer on this particular property. So I am a little bit behind schedule now that I've got to, once I get to the hotel, I can't immediately dive into studying. I've got to write this offer and review a pre-inspection report from my buyers, just so we can be clear on our offer price. And once I'm finished with that, I can send that over to them and then get into studying for the exam tomorrow. So I am headed to the hotel now. I'm about 30 minutes away, and hopefully I can get there by 12:30 and go from there. Okay. So I'm here at the hotel. I was able to get some food and sit down, open up my computer, take a look at an offer that I'm preparing to write, their inspection report, and then pulling some required documents to send over to my clients to review before we write the offer, see if they want to reconsider their initial offer price. Just make sure we're all on the same page there. So it's about 1 o'clock. I was hoping to start studying at least by 12. So I'm going to set aside the offer writing for right now until I hear back from them, and get on with my studying. And that's it. Wish me luck, and here we go. So I'm kind of freaking out. Taken 2 tests from a different website. I used real estate trainers to study, used their CompuTrainers, and I was getting, mid 80s. Went over to First Tuesday. Now I'm getting right on the dot 75%, which leaves me absolutely no room for any errors. So I'm a little nervous because it's a little too close. Back to studying. Morning, guys. It is 6:20 in the morning. I hardly slept a wink last night. I was just up all night, and the hotel I'm staying in La Palma is right by the freeway and very loud. So I did not get the greatest of sleep last night, but I feel fine. I woke up about 6 o'clock and went downstairs, got some breakfast, and I am now going over some of the cards that I have, some of my index cards here, and going over rights of survivorship, tenant into common. I'm just going over some of the estates that I just want to have in my brain because I know those are the things that are going to be on the test, eminent domain, place power, stuff like that. So that's it for now. I am going to finish up studying and then talk to you guys when I'm ready to leave and head over to the test center. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Okay, guys, I am getting ready to head on out. So this is it. What I've done is I've gone over some of the financing questions, some of the estate questions, just so I've got that fresh in my head. I've also taken a mental note of the sheet that I have here. I don't know if you guys can see that. These are just common mistakes that I've been making that I just want to make sure that once I get there on whatever scratch paper they give me, I'm going to quickly write down the acres, write down the miles. I've written down how many square miles in a section, OO, TEE, offer, TOFE, and then the capitalization rate. So I have that in my mind right now, got it down, so when I get in there, I'm going to write that down really quickly so I can forget about it and not have to worry about remembering that. And when a question comes up on the test, I can just refer to that without having to stress about remembering it. I've also written down some columns that once I get in there also, I'm going to write down a skip column, and I'm going to number which ones I skip. I'm going to write down which ones I've skipped for math. And then I'm also going to write down the ones that I've answered that I feel are trick questions, and then the ones that I'm absolutely not sure about but I've still answered, just going off my first response. Hopefully my brain recalled it for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure that that's correct. So, and those are going to be the questions that I go back to later. I've also got a little box in there to write down at the end of going through the test first with the skips on there, how many I've answered and how many I've answered that I think I've got correctly. So hopefully, I've got 120 answered off the bat. I'm absolutely positive about. And then I can go to the skipped ones and really slow down, take my time and think about it. Go through the trick questions and make sure that I didn't make a mistake, because they usually say, this never happens except. I know that's going to pop up, so I'm definitely going to write down that as a trick, and I'm going to go into my brain when I revisit that question, this never happens except, and do that slowly and make sure I've answered it correctly. I'm going to go over the last one I'm going to go over is the ones that I'm not sure about, but I've answered. So maybe 50% of those are correct, maybe 50% are not. Then I can just really go over those and just double check. Then I'm going to do the math absolutely last. I heard that there may not be any math questions. I'm hoping that's the case because I absolutely did not study any math questions. I'm hoping it's just, as realtors, we know how to compute the commissions, so that's super easy. And I've already written down the cap rate, the capitalization rate from my memory of the sheet. So I've got that in there because I think maybe there'll be a cap rate. I think maybe there'll be a commission question. So I'm not too concerned about the math section. But at the very end, I'll go through the math section, and then I will double check that math. And then hopefully I've got it. There's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, even just reviewing this morning, things that I knew that, got pushed out of my brain because I've added new information. So I'm really, really, really stressed about that part of it, because at one point I did know it, and because I've added so much more information in, it just, I don't remember it anymore. So that's what I'm really, really concerned about. I think I've done all the studying that I could possibly do. I just can't retain anymore. I think that if you think you're going to go into this test with, I've been a realtor for so many years, I've got this, like I know this, but there's so many things that you just forget and you don't use on a daily basis, and you definitely need to study. So hopefully my studying is paying off. And I'm leaving now. Best of luck to me. Okay, so I just finished the first half of the test, and it took me an hour and a half. And I have to say, it was tiring, and it was a little brutal. And if I did not study for the test, I would have had so much more trouble. Even studying as much as I did, I still struggled. So right now I'm just going to review more. I don't know how much more I can do, but I've got another almost 2 hours before the next session. And what to expect when you go in there. Bring your ID. I didn't bring anything with me except for my ID. Obviously I have my keys, I've got a locker there. They give you a whiteboard and a calculator, and there's a bunch of people sitting at computers. The computers are flat down, not up this way that you're looking down. And just got to read those questions really carefully. No math questions yet. So I haven't had any math questions, and I haven't had to use my mileage, the miles or square feet or anything like that I had, committed to my memory right before I went in and wrote down on my whiteboard. So I haven't used that yet. Maybe it'll be in the second session. So I'm going to go through some of my notes with some of the categories that I didn't see that much in the first session, and review those right now. I think it was maybe some appraisal. I don't know. My brain is fried. It's really stressful going in there, and everybody is very tense, and you can feel it in the room. It's very quiet, and there's people walking around monitoring, just making sure that there's no cheating going on. You haven't taken your shoes off. You can't take your shoes off. One woman was told to put her jacket behind her, not on her lap, and put her shoes back on. And so it's pretty strict in there. And kind of went in there with a blur, so everything that they were telling me and asking me to do, all I have in my head is information that I need to pass the test. So I didn't have my locker code, and all the other common things that you should know just completely are not in my brain right now. So it's a little stressful. So I have another couple hours, and then I should have my results of the test. As far as how I think I did, I wrote down how many questions I felt that I answered correctly, and how many that I really, really didn't know. And then obviously I just did that percentage. So I'm thinking for that first section, I got about 80%. That's what I feel. Initially there was nothing that I skipped, but there was, I'd say about 30 that I was not sure, not 100% sure. There was a section for me, maybe about 5 of them, were those trick questions that said accept, not, those trigger words that you have to really think about and flip in your brain to answer the question correctly. So there was probably only about 5 of those for the first session. And so I think I'm gonna get a bite to eat and quiet my brain down for a minute, then get back to reviewing a couple of categories, and that's it. Okay, so that was a long day. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock now. It's exactly 2 o'clock. Started at 8 a.m. and I walked outside with my results and FaceTimed my husband and one of my kids, my daughter, and I passed. So first time taking the test, and I passed. Obviously I don't know what the percentage was. It's just qualifying in nature, so if you get a 75 or more, then you've passed. And I'm so relieved that I can put these books away and these flashcards and everything away. And yeah, I will tell you more later. I just want to get home. I'm very tired, so I'm going to start driving.